So now we're going to talk about the pathophysiology of mallet finger, or how does the injury, the condition happens exactly. So it typically happens when my finger is fully extended and there is a blunt trauma that occurs along the long axis of the finger. So this injury typically happens during doing sports, and that's why it's known sometimes as baseball finger. So if there is a blunt object like a ball that would come and hit the finger along its long axis, and because my finger is fully extended, this trauma would force the distal phalanx to flex while the finger is extended. So this forcing like this is actually going, what will it do? It's going to injure the terminal extensor tendon that we talked about. It will force it like this, leading to the cutting of the tendon. So if we go back to our model here, this is the extensor expansion from the tendons of extensor digitorum. And as we said, this expansion ends with the terminal extensor tendon, which splits into two parts and then inserts on the base of the distal phalanx. So when there is an injury in this direction, forcing the distal phalanx to bend, this terminal tendon here is going to be damaged. It's going to cut like this. Okay, and what will happen when this tendon is cut? So if now I'm able to extend my finger fully like this, if you can see. Now if this tendon is cut like this, the main function of this tendon is to extend the very distal end of the finger, or to extend the distal phalanx on the distal interphalangeal joint. So if my finger is extended like this, the terminal tendon is going to help me do this movement, which is, so if my finger is extended like this, I am able to do this final movement because of the terminal tendon. Okay, so the last 20 degrees of movement, I can do them because of this tendon. Now, if this tendon is cut, what will happen is that I will be able to extend my finger. Okay, it's because the other part of the tendon, as we said, the central part here inserts on the middle phalanx. So I will be able to extend my finger up until here. But then when I try to extend this last part, I will not be able to do that. So my finger is going to have this appearance, which resembles a mallet. That's why it's called a mallet finger. And it happens because there is damage to the terminal extensor tendon. And this is the first mechanism that this injury happens. So let's talk with a little bit more details about the mechanisms of which mallet finger injury happens. Because there are two main mechanisms for this injury to happen. So if this is a finger like this, okay, and here this is the dorsal surface of the finger, and this is the palmar surface, or the volar surface here. Okay, and as we've seen before, the tendon of extensor digitorum is going to reach the proximal interphalangeal joint. Okay, so this is the proximal interphalangeal joint. It's going to reach here, and then it's going to split into three parts, as we said. The central part is going to insert on the base of the middle phalanx, and the distal two and the lateral. So the central part will insert on the base of the middle phalanx. The lateral parts are going to join together, and they're going to insert on the base of the distal phalanx in this manner. Okay, and as we said, this structure here is called the terminal extensor tendon. So this is the terminal extensor tendon, and it is the tendon that is of importance to us in mallet finger injury. So what happens in mallet finger injury? As we said, if my finger is fully extended like this, there is blunt trauma along the long axis of the finger. So there is an object that's going to hit my finger. Okay, there will be a blunt trauma along the long axis of the finger that's going to force, while my finger is extended, is going to force the distal phalanx to flex. Okay, so this distal phalanx is going to forcibly flex. So what do you imagine would happen in this case to the terminal, to our terminal tendon here? It will be forced against its natural range of motion. It will be when the finger is flexed like this, the tendon is going to, there will be some force on the tendon that's more than it can handle, and the injury will happen in two main mechanisms. And as we saw, the first mechanism is there will be a cut in the tendon like this. So the tendon is going to be cut like this, and when the tendon is cut, I will be able to extend my finger until here, but I will not be able to do this final movement. If this tendon is cut, I can extend my finger, but this final movement I will not be able to do. So the shape of my finger when I fully extend it is going to be like this. Okay, or what is known as mallet finger. Now the second mechanism of injury, this is the first mechanism. So the second mechanism, that this tendon, when it inserts on the bone here, sometimes the force of the injury will not cut the tendon, but it will actually produce a very small fracture of the bone here, of the base of the distal phalanx. Okay, so there will be a small fracture here, and this piece of bone along with the tendon is going to be avulsed. So what will happen is that this piece of bone is going to be avulsed like this, but it will still be attached to the tendon. So the tendon is not damaged, but this piece of bone has actually detached from the base of the distal phalanx. And this will produce the exact same clinical presentation. So I will be able to extend my finger until here, but I will not be able to move this last 20 degrees of movement. So when I fully extend my finger is going to look like this again. So the end result is the same, but the mechanism is different. Either there will be a cut in the tendon, or there will be an avulsion in the bone at the base of the distal phalanx.